Alright, hello nih minasan, welcome back to NowBrian Seka YouTube channel. Kali ini bersama saya NowBrian di sini bersama Game of Future. Perempat final ya antara RRQ Hoshi dan juga Burmese Ghoul di sini. Kita akan lihat. Jadi kita akan cover untuk Mobile Legends ya di sini ya. Lihat di sini kita sambil nonton nobar game pertama. Nanti kita potong-potong untuk gameplaynya. Dan ini best of 3 ya. Jadi siapa pun yang menang lebih banyak di pertarungan ini 3 game atau menang 2 kali itu akan jadi pemenang. Di sini RRQ juga udah main dengan pemain barunya, format baru. Dan setelah ini ada pertarungan yang lain, tapi saya tidak ngikuti ya. Saya ngikutinya nanti untuk Onyx. Malam sih, ditunggu aja. Oke, di situ yang di ban ada 3. Siapa saja itu aku nggak kenal, itu Nolan, Martit, Joy, Novaria, dan Matil. Slot 1 apa ya? Barat ya. Oke. RRQ milih Jennifer, Ruby, dan Claude.
Yeah, not to mention, Stitch had some MVP performances on this as well, and they're gonna work around that. Not to mention picking up Ruby, like you said,
ini saya pakai broadcast yang bahasa Inggris ya.
If they're actually able to utilize
it the way
they need to, because so far we don't 100% know where the Guinevere is going. We can
ambil belajar
maybe it goes in the jungle, maybe it doesn't. Even yesterday alone, we saw it even in the roam. So with that, again,
Sini untuk Ruby game-game ke belakang sangat GG ya. Ada Nana juga dan juga Cici. Minotaur mana Minotaur? Nana it's good. Aurora juga nggak ada. Aurora nggak ada yang nge-pick ya.
It is. I mean, we've talked about this with Private. I think the only time we've seen this was like, well, it has appeared in multiple games, but I think I love this coming out from RRQ Hoshi, showing us that, the Nana is not only a beast in ranked games. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It appeared several times, not to mention, I like the adjustment.
Tapi Cici itu early game karakter sih.
Actually, not stun one person, stun like 3 people. So, like for RRQ so far, it has that great burst combination. Schools immediately answers it out by picking up the Akai here to kind of shake things up. But at the same time, I'm not so sure if this is a good pick up against like the Nana. Like the Nana's
Lancelot di situ.
Akai, right? Like when you pop the heavy spin. So I'm not so sure, but for Sox, right, he's kind of taking away or kind of picking up this Akai already, since there were 2 bans centered towards him in the first phase. The Barretts and the Martis were already out. Some of his most picked heroes so far in the tournament.
It's funny with that, because Akai popped up yesterday as well a couple times, and even if you're playing
Lancelot juga GG sih untuk beberapa game ke belakang. Lancelotnya Irat itu WTF sekali ya.
With the heavy spin, the way that works, and sometimes it's not even about getting the lockdown. It's actually the way that you can utilize it, and we've seen this happen before with Saksa, is just, hey, push them away from the objective. Again, we talk a lot about the dances, the objective dances, and that's one great tool or utility, I guess, that Akai brings, is sometimes you're just pushing the other jungler away so that you can get the retribution off and work off of that. So again, a lot of CC available to them. Claude scales up. We know that he can be a menace later on himself, pushing those side lanes, putting pressure there if it's not controlled. But right now, as we get to the second phase here, Kim, a couple more bands to go. before we see how this unfolds.
Jadi
We already
respect
see
band
some
ya bisa
focus here
dibilang.
on the X
Nolan
as
di
well.
situ.
Yeah, Dilar, I was actually going to talk a little bit about that because looking at RRQ Hoshi, they kind of want to focus on like team fights, right? You got the Guinevere to set up the plays. Even the CC here kind of sets up the plays. But for RRQ, they're kind of, respecting the fact that Dilar, this is not a Ruby, Dilar's Ruby. So he might actually go for, something else.
Ngantuk
We've seen
aku.
it on a Lapu Lapu several times. Benedetta as well, that can do the same
Kelihatan
pushes
nggak?
here for Burmese schools. I
Kelihatan ya?
talked a little bit about that earlier, that Dilar can also go for those kind of mobile heroes that can disrupt the jungle. So for RQ Hoshi, their last ban, I feel like they should center it around Dilar. Just the same thing as like Burmese schools is centering around the jungle here for the last two bans. They take away the Lancelot and the Nolan that I mentioned that is really good. You kind of want to go for that
Gold
great
line apa
early
cuy?
game, which kind of leaves Irad here with either going for another utility because they already have the
Jangan-jangan
burst damage
malah
here, or they want to add up to more damage by picking up like something
Layla
crazy like a
lagi
Fanny
cuy.
here. I mean, they already have Skylar here to pick up that
Fanny?
either a carry here to
Fanny
shred
musuh
the
kayak
tanky
gitu. Oh
heroes,
itu
or
Paramis diambil
maybe
ya.
go for something
Penghilang
like
stun.
something that can go head to head with a
Kalau
clock
nggak salah.
maybe.
Saya nggak tahu apa-apa kak.
They could do that. They could, again, I think they could even possibly just go a safe route. They already have so much damage available to them in the early game. If they really want to go in with scale and work around this, they might even opt. What if they go for, of course, like it's not banned out, the carry's available, Bruno's still there. Those are some picks that they could pick up and go with. Fairness being picked up on the other side, again, is something that you have to be conscious
Kari
of,
boleh,
right?
Kari.
I was even thinking of possibly an Aurora popping up because we've seen that come through quite a bit. There's the Bruno. So Bruno is going to be locked in. That's the choice here for Skylar, which is great because Bruno's a great turret destroyer, right? Let him go ahead and farm up, do what he needs to do, and then the damage has to be respected later on. The Minotaur, last pick here for RQ Hoshi. So now we know exactly where things are falling into place, right? Of course, this provides them a lot of that sustainability still based off the heroes that they have and a lot of CC. So it's a good thing that Burmese Ghouls has that Fairness, right? Because they're going to want to use that that Colt Altar to really help them survive a lot of this.
Grill juga bisa.
Yeah, they're already anticipating that this is going to be an all-out brawl between them and RRQ. I mean, looking at the lineup here of RRQ, you got the Minotaur, the Guinevere. This is what's really good about the Guinevere too. I think this might actually be the Irad's hero, right? So as long as the Guinevere has someone to front for you, you can just keep on setting up and not worry about getting taken down. But for the side of Burmese schools, they also lock up something really interesting themselves. And I think overall, like, you can expect to see like a lot of clashes here from the start and even up until mid-game.
Again, we'll see as both these lineups are locked in and ready. I feel like it's been a while too since we've seen with Fairness, I'm so used to seeing the Valentina across from him, but I like the fact that, again, I'm a huge fan of these picks popping up that are... I guess Nana's kind of meta now, but, for the longest time, she wasn't meta. So I like that she still fits into this this whole play style for a lot of these teams.
Karena beda kak, meta dan juga
sustainability, they have all that here for
apa namanya,
Burmese Ghouls, on the other hand, like I said, they're gonna
turnamen beda cuy. Counterman turnamen itu counter pick. Oke, kita lihat di sini game pertama.
Let's see how it all unfolds. We saw both the lineups here. I'm going to go ahead and lean
kita enjoy aja reactionnya.
Lineup from RQ Hoshi. I think they should be able to pull it off. But we're going to be jumping here into the land of Dawn here. Game number 1.
Oke, game 1.
Kicking off here, RQ Hoshi, Burmese Ghouls in this best of 3. One of these teams
lihat di situ Akai jungler
after the series.
Sama Jennifer jungler.
Taking a look at the early rotations, emblems, nothing quite, out of the ordinary here. Banana, though, opting for a lot of that sustainability again with this CC.
Okay.
See how this all works out. Burmese Ghouls, they gotta play around the fact that they have. Oh, hold on, already in the mid lane. Though. Jump in, come through. Nico's gonna be just fine. Gives them a thumbs up as well. So. For now, back and forth. We're going to wait for that first big objective, of course, the turtle. I'm not sure if either of these teams have what they need to get an early first blood before the objective. I think it's better they play it safe again when we're talking about
nomornya adalah
at stake here, right? So for now, let's see once again how it
Ruby
goes. Banana and Dalar.
dan
Banana should have
juga
a
Mino
good
ya.
lane so far for the most part until that
Oke,
level 4 is available. There you are, Kim.
oke
So yeah,
dipupuk
nothing.
di situ,
You didn't miss too much.
colek-colek di situ,
Oh yeah,
poke-poke.
definitely. It's a minute in, no first blood. Kind of expected to see this from, of course, RRQ and Burmese. They want to be a little bit more careful, kind of
Di
going in
reset
for
lagi.
a lot of these early game pokes first. I like this XP lane choice from RRQ. They decided to go with
Wah,
this,
maling.
especially since this can kind of like put Dilara back. Like we've seen this in some games of the Burmese schools that you know, Dilara
Lihat di
had a
situ,
very early wave clear, so he
dipancing
was able to reach
untuk
level 4
turtle.
much faster than the opponent, which kind of really enables Burmese schools to kind of take in these
Nice damage.
early turtles. But so far, it's RRQ.
Itu ada
Rat actually
Yusong.
started up 1/4 HP already for the turtle.
Yep, they go in. Heavy spin already used. Turtle
Nice.
Irad gonna be able to get it. They get the
Irad.
stun off as well. Not sure if they still want to be going for it though. They're gonna fight it out and they back off. They disengage. Good thing too. Once again, they have that nether realm.
Nice Irad untuk
from Nico.
yang namanya
Very good zoning as well from RRQ. Like you see, Banana. Not only was he able to clear
Retri ya.
lanes pretty fast, he was also able to zone out Saksa there, so he can push forward and try to go for that
Dan
heavy
untuk
spin and
Bruno
just put
very
damage to
strong
make sure to
btw.
steal that Lord. But overall for RRQ, right, like so far their lanes are pretty much contained. Like you see how Dilar was super aggressive too when it came to like the turtle take. He went in and tried to go in for that level 4 so he can pop in that Black Dragon and be able to kind of mess up RRQ's turtle take there. But so far RRQ has been successful. No first blood yet. 3 minutes in already in the game.
Oke,
Yeah,
3
which
menit.
is interesting, right? Because we're talking about the aggression from both of these teams, but and that's not going to find the
No
connection we're
first
looking
blood
for, but
btw.
hold on still. Pressure, oh, looks like huge. Offended into the heavy spin, able to get the lockdown.
Oke.
Irad gonna go down. First blood go to the hands of Burmese
Ruby
Schools. What a
luar biasa
step
ya.
there from Blink utilizing the flicker combination with the
Flicker.
offended. Still going to be up here on the top side, but they should be fine for now.
Tarok ya.
Yeah, just when we were talking about no first blood, kind of called it there. Nice tuck in there. Flicker was available for Blink, and he was able to do that. And now Banana in trouble. Ooh, this is what I was talking about.
Oke, Cici
4-for-1
Yusong.
trade-off onto the bottom side. And you see kind of like the aggression of Dilar, right? Going right into the turret to make sure that he gets the pick off. But again, kind of nullified since it was like a 1-for-1 trade. Here on the middle side, though. Burmese Brusco setting things up, but not be able to get anything. Burmese School so far, they got that nice first blood. They got it in 2 pickoffs, but it's still leading, all because of the turtle takes that they've been taking. And not to mention, look at Skylar there over on the top side, actually forcing Stitch to actually go to the XP lane instead.
It's a good choice. I mean, a lot of these rotations happening here are very smart on both sides. You know, for the most part, an early game, not anything too crazy happening. Blink, if he continues to do that every time the flicker's available to him, is really going to pay off. That's kind of what they have to do. But Brusco on the other side, well-timed Minoan Fury is going to help them out. And not only that, but they have the extra CC available to them. Dragon form going to come down, still be working for the second one. Sox able to secure it, gets a lockdown.
Yang dapat adalah itu Irad mati. Wah, RRQ dalam bahaya sih ini.
I like how Burmese Schools also kind of like knew that Brusco there did not have
Punya
enough
banyak.
players, so they were so confident in trying to take down this turtle to the point that RQ was just like trying to find the proper setup there. We kind of see the attempts there from Irad trying to go in for the Violet Requiem and the Spatial Migration, but you know, it kind of backfired here onto RRQ, and now so far Burmese Schools, they've done a good job of equalizing things.
Nice burst.
Goes in, yeah.
Nice damage.
But look at that. Again, the sustainability is kind of the way, of course, NetherRealm works.
Nice masuk.
It buys you a little more time, and they're going to be just fine.
I'm worried about for the side of Burmese Schools, though. They have to check Skylar as of the moment. He's gotten all the gold
Beratnya tank jungler itu agak
not to mention that he's been pushing the lanes pretty fast.
Agak bikin males rotasinya sih.
Is a turret shredder, and so far he's been taking this turret now almost to 1/4 HP. They should be able to take.
Oke, dapat turret di situ, very good untuk RRQ. Weightnya juga sama, plus
possibly the next Lord coming into this game, but so far gold lead.
Satu
you don't see
dapat
anyone
satu.
leading as of the moment because everybody is so is kind of a little bit careful when it comes to all these engages, right? Like once you engage, you don't have that right follow up. It might actually just be a double-edged sword for your team.
Yeah, and I think that's again, you have to respect the fact that even with everything happening now, you know, the past couple of minutes, it's pretty much even economy-wise, right, for the most part. And Skylar not going down, able to kind of just farm up here is great for RQ. But even on the flip side, Burmese Ghoul is exactly Stitch having an early kill, able to work on his own here, will pay off later on, of course, as you scale up on this Claude pick. So right now, stalemates. Third turtle of the game, though, for the taking here. Both teams getting in position. Only Skylar down on the bottom side, so both teams want to go full force here. The difference maker could be that gold lane, having that available. You can already see in the mid lane, whittling down slowly, but Stitch going to go down bottom. Team's going to be fighting it out 4-on-4 here. Dapat turret. Turret goes down to the bottom side as both gold laners wait there. Turtle's going to reset once again.
Awak keantuk gitu ya. Dan masih sore loh. Sialan.
He has a flicker.
They're trying to feel this out. Yeah, they have to. There's some pressure though in the mid lane. They got to deal with it for now. RQ still in position. But right now, Burmese Ghoul is just kind of letting them take control of this space. Blink not going to commit. There's the dragon finally going for the initiation. Huge.
Nice.
With the flicker, Minoan Fury. Now they're going to be battling now. Still looking for a kill to fall here, though.
Nice damage, Nana.
Delar will finally fall. Stitch now joining the fight.
Jennifer KO.
It's a double for Stitch, though. But Skylar finally gets a kill as well. And now the mid lane turret goes down next. They find wins on both sides here, but RQ pulling out just a little bit ahead. Now Soxa buff to be worked on. He's deleted by Banana, gets whittled down quickly. And that is tough for them. Stitch now the answer here with Blink still.
Nice.
Be able to get away from the I'm offended. Wow, so much back and forth here, Kim.
Yeah, we kind of expected this coming out. All out brawl from the side. Burmese Ghoul, big window. There was a trade from RQ Hoshi
setelah mid game itu udah nggak kepake itu Cici. Nice. Lord.
That is big because RQ Hoshi just finally got this first Lord of the game, not the luminous one, but this will actually give more pressure to Burmese Ghouls. They've been winning all of these clashes, but they haven't been able to convert as much turret takes as compared to RQ Hoshi, who has been slowly taking it in care of Skylar. 101 on this Bruno, 7,000.
Bisa ini. Weightnya sendiri Bruno banyak banget ya.
What Stitch has, but so far, you know, we can't count out Stitch just yet. This is a claw that you're talking about. He just picked up the Demon Hunter sword too, so that's going to be big for the side of Burmese Ghouls when it comes to these clashes.
Cloud itu Demon Hunter dah bagus banget.
So pretty much he's just going to go for the cleanup work here if Burmese Ghouls decides to go in for the full engage.
Okay, and with that, they got the Lord work in here. RQ now going to go ahead and get these turrets down, move around the map with the space that they garnered themselves. We'll be taking the resources as well on top.
Dikandangin ya itu di atas.
Finding themselves in a troubling position. This round could slip out of their hands very quickly, depending on how they deal with this push. It's going to come down once again if Blink can find a
turret atas
that he's going to be looking for on this Ruby pick once again. He's kind of the
big
answer for them. Delar also now at this point with Dragon Form has to be really careful on his positioning. Turret now in the mid lane, tier 2 going to fall into focus top side, tier 3. And you can already see Skylar very confidently just kind of poking down what he can. Shield's already taken care of as well in the mid lane. But right now, Burmese Ghouls holding it together on the defense.
For Burmese Ghouls and RQ, what they both have in common right now
is the turret masih strong sih.
The Nether Realm here, the blazing duet. Even for the side of RQ, the timing here of Brusco's setup, he does have the flicker here. They want to go for the pressure here on the mid side. Tugged in by Blink.
Able to get the pull here, but he's still going to be able to stay alive through it all. Nether Realm comes down too. Dragon Form there to cut him off a little bit. Delar, though, takes quite a few shots. No one goes
tinggal N aja nih.
Big item picks up as well. The Flask of the Oasis now for Brusco. Sustainability going to be there, and they're getting another.
Anjir, saya ngantuk banget, Cuk.
Finds the Requia. Now Banana also unleashing. Stitch able to get the kill, but it's
wah, wipe out ini.
Two down for Burmese Ghouls and RQ. Looking to end game number 1 here.
End game. Fokus turret. Nice. Bruno. Nice.
And that looks like it's going to be it as
1-0
RRQ takes
untuk
game number
RRQ.
1.
Let's go.
Wow. Just when we thought that it could have been at least like a more than 15
Nice.
minutes game, that was actually a pretty fast game there from
Cukup cepat.
RRQ. Both sides were actually they actually calculated all of their
Walaupun
clashes
ketinggalan
really
ya,
well, right? There was a
Yeah.
point that
RRQ tapi bisa
all of them
membalikkan
actually
itu
used up all
juga
of their
GG banget.
ultimates, but none of them were taken down. What
Very
RQ
good.
actually did really well in that final clash was just
Very
to have
strong.
that selective
Dan
targeting
mungkin
on those
itu
heroes,
kita
right?
akan
Like Rusia went
pindah
down,
ke
yeah, the main one taking up all
next
of the
game.
damage, but that actually enabled Skylar and even Oct there with the Nana to be able to get the prime
Game
position in
kedua
their
ya.
burst.
Apakah
And if they went
2-0
down, well,
atau
everybody was too
nanti
busy
ada game
trying to
ketiga?
defuse
Let's
go
see.
down.
Yeah, it's crazy again.
Kita lihat
When you're thinking about that
statistik
early
terlebih
game,
dahulu.
how
Ini highlight.
and great setup here in the early game from Burmese Ghouls and Blink, able to pull that through, but the problem was as much as
I
it
like
was a
di sini.
stalemate from the early portion of the game and it was relatively even economy-wise, it's like a switch just flipped for RQ at some point, right? And they were able to really
tiba-tiba RRQ langsung pelan-pelan tapi pasti ya. Cici kalau timnya ngepet berat cuy. Oh nggak bisa gendong Cici. Sekarang kan Cici di nerf dikit kan.
Very quickly, it just went in their favor here, especially after fights like this kind of turned out.
Yeah, the problem too here with the side of Burmese Schools, once it reached the late game, right? For Stitch, he was able to kind of have that killing spree, right? Even in these clashes, you can see he's been popping in these blazing duets, timed really well, and
Okay.
actually kind of made it hard for RRQ Hoshi in the team fight. So RRQ Hoshi kind of understood that. They're like, okay, we have to kind of address the back lines here, or maybe kind of force Burmese Schools to pop in all of their ultimates. Once it's all down, it's going to be kind of hard for them to go in for the engage. And as you can see this, for RQ, they were willing to take down the back lines. Here, you see a nice setup here from Irad, which kind of enabled all of the rest of RQ Hoshi to actually make the plays. As long as Skylar is safe here, as long as he's protected here for RQ Hoshi, they could have locked in the tower. And for Burmese Schools, they lacked that kind of wave clear here. For their side, they did have the protection in the form of the Faramis, but
Ya
it was
pakai
kind of
itu
not
sih.
enough to take down the main problem, which is of course
Oh
backline,
ini
and at the same
build
time Banana as
fighter.
well being the MVP here
Satu
for
item
this
gimmick,
game.
yang
We've
lain
seen him
adalah counter
solo
MM ya.
the side of Burmese
Okay,
Schools here
very
several
good.
times, not only in the clashes but even in the major objectives, which kind of is I would say that CD is that kind of hero that is not really that, for me it's not really that OP, but it really is super annoying to be in lane with. You've seen even in the early phase of the game where Dilar really had a hard time to clear out the lane. Like Banana had much better wave clear, and at the same time it was really annoying when
Dan
it
ini
comes to these
dia
clashes
untuk
that, he was exposing the backlines, and it was hard for either
item.
Nico
Mana
or
ini? Aku
even
nunggu
Stitch
item cuy.
to get the prime position in the classes.
Yeah, it was great. Again, Banana didn't even have, he didn't have to have.
Dan kita bisa next game ya.
He had a couple locked in there on the defense.
Ya ini dia.
And he was able to play around the vengeance as well.
Jadi di sini hujan ya, mohon maaf btw.
Playing that front line when Brusco wasn't available, or maybe had.
Oke, itu dia. Kita langsung lanjut ke game selanjutnya. Let's go.
Looked like he was going to go down, but Banana was, there.